Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Two and Love. Here with another edition of Sports Overview of Topics, episode number 131. Um, Today we got a good amount on the podcast as usual. Um, uh, First of all, Merry Christmas. Hope everyone had a joyous holiday weekend. Safely, soundly, as we gear towards the end of 2022 and get ready for the start of 2023. But yeah, hope everyone had good holidays. Did have a quality Christmas. Spend time with family. Did give gifts to the girlfriend before, or shout to Mariah, love you. But yeah, quality Christmas weekend. It's good to be on break, um, although it can be cold these days. But nonetheless, a good portion to talk about on the podcast today. Saturday, the semifinals in the college football playoffs with Michigan, TCU, and Georgia, Ohio State. Two key matchups. Talk about those. Give predictions for both, um, as well as uh, site on Week 16, as well as preview of NFL Week 17, second last week before the season breakdown, as well as the Pro Bowl. Again, two on that. But before we get into, as well as basketball and Christmas. But first topic, might as well get into it. Because it's always big. Um, but want to talk about these two first before I get into everything else. So, another weird passing in the sports community happened the other day. And unfortunate because he was in one of the most pivotal moments of the UFC. The American Psycho, Stephan Bonnar. Stephan Bonnar unfortunately passed away uh, the other day, I believe at age 45. Way, way too young. Way too young. Now, he was in one of the, if not the biggest fight for the UFC history, and the Ultimate Fighter Season 1 finale with Forrest Griffin. And that fight is still one of the best fights in MMA and UFC history. That fight, back and forth, um, really, um, in many words, saved the UFC and really showed how much these two young guns wanted it to get a contract with the UFC. And thus they pulled out all the stops, and ultimately Forrest won in a split decision. But thankfully, Stephan Bonnar was offered a contract as well. And for sure, now, obviously, both went in kind of separate directions as far as UFC careers. Obviously, Forrest went to be UFC champion, but Stephan Bonnar made some very good performances in his own right. Had some very good fights as well. He went on a 3-fight winning streak after that, culminating in a win for Keith Jardine. Went on a slope after that, but came back. Eventually lost against Polish experiment Krzysztof Chowczynski, Kyle Kingsbury, etc. Lost his last fight in the UFC against Anderson Silva. He did show up in a few things. He did have that fight with T. Ortiz and Bellator. But yeah, thankfully they inducted, he will be a part of UFC history and be a part of the UFC forever. That fight was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame for Forrest and Stephan Bonnar. No, he had some health issues the last couple of years, but it's some 45. That's too young. Too young. And it's unfortunate. Thoughts and prayers out with the Bonner family and friends, faithful, all throughout. Just condolences to everyone that's been affected. Also, gotta talk about it because it came as a surprise, really, to me the other day as well. But J.J. Watt, the former 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, has had still a heck of a season. 9.5 sacks on the year. Hasn't had a great performance against the Buccaneers on Christmas night in overtime. Has decided that after this season, he will call it a career. And it's it came as a surprise to me because he was so having a good season. He showed to me that he could still get it done. Now, this year's been a much different year for him. He's now had a kid. He now has a kid. His kid was there with his wife or with his parents, etc., for the game. Um, and, a few weeks ago, he had that episode where, it was leaked out that he had a heart issue and it was shocked back to rhythm in the middle of the week, and he somehow was able to play um, a couple days later. And that really shows a testament to JJ Watt. And he was upset how the information leaked out. Um, well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, JJ, you know, always a class act, you know, was just a great guy on and off the field. You know, I mean, his 2014 season will go down as one of the best seasons by, you know, really a player ever. You know, he had 5 touchdowns, had a fumble recovery, pick six, um, you know, receiving touchdowns. I mean, 20.5 sacks. I mean, yeah. And shame because he had a bulk of injuries towards the end. 2016 he missed. In 2017 he missed majority of those years. 2018, you know, yeah, hell of a season. Um, 2019 he missed half the season. I mean, it's unfortunate. He arguably the best defense player I've ever seen play. I mean, really from his prime. I mean, I've never, I never saw um, Lawrence Taylor, um, Bruce Smith, those guys, Deion Sanders play live, but JJ during his prime was great. I mean, and 2012, you know, it's also a shame that he was that he's one of those guys where you wish got a ring, at least one. I mean, 2012, you could say was the best team he was on. You know, he had 20.5 sacks. I mean, they had Cushing, they had Johnson Joseph, they had Glover Quinn. I mean, on offense, Andre Johnson, Aaron Foster, Matt Shaw had a great year, but they couldn't. And they were primed to get the 1 seed in 2012, but failed to do that, and they couldn't get past the Patriots in the playoffs. I mean, yeah, and I mean, they had some quality. I mean, Deshaun Watson last year was another chance where could have got a ring. 11-6, but the offense fizzled out in the playoffs. Former, but you can't also discredit how he was off the field. I believe it was 2016. He missed really all of the season with an injury, and then at NFL honors, he won Walter Payton Man of the Year award. So just credit to him, and it's unfortunate, but yeah, JJ Watt to retire after the end of the season. If he doesn't get a double-digit sack season by the end of these two games, I think every one of us will be very, very upset. Very upset. But yeah, JJ Watt's first ballot Hall of Famer. I think we can all agree. So before we get into NFL Week 16 recap, let's talk about the Pro Bowl. Because you could tell that obviously, you know, it's always difficult with the Pro Bowl. Especially now because it's a different format this season. The Pro Bowl games, good reason. Flag football, and the Pro Bowl games. I like those last year and the year before. Uh, but yeah, you know, people obviously have their opinions, who should have got in, who should have not got in. But I'll give my thoughts at all that about the roster. Just go through the roster really quick and talk about, you know, right, wrong, who should have gotten in, who shouldn't have. Yeah, just give my thoughts as we go through the roster. So, as usual, starting with quarterbacks. So, interesting field for the NFC. So, quarterbacks as follow: Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith, and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins having a career year for the Vikings, well deserved. Considering Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers have not been well this season. Matthew Stafford, same, but Kirk Cousins deserved. Jalen Hurts, again, deserved as well with what he's done through the air and on the ground. I'd say so. Geno Smith, I think, is the wild card, really, when it comes to people picking apart this Pro Bowl roster. I say that because he was having a great start to the season, and then the last couple of games he's not looked as well. Um, you know, I wouldn't be upset if Jared Goff, you know, to me, Jared Goff has had a bit of a better season, considering how he's really transformed himself. Geno Smith's been a great story as well. So, you know, look, for my money, the Vikings or the Eagles have a good chance of making the Super Bowl out of the NFC. So probably Jared Goff is going to be an alternate, I would say, for either Hurts or Cousins, if I had guessed. The AFC, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Clearly. Now, you could say Trevor Lawrence, you could say, Herbert. I mean, but pretty much got the quarterbacks right for the most part, I would say. Running backs for both sides. For the NFC, Saquon, Tony Pollard, Miles Sanders. Excuse me. Again, I'd say pretty much deserved. Now, Christian McCaffrey has had a very, very solid season. And, you know, if you ask me, yeah, Christian should definitely be in. Now, always the hard part of the Pro Bowl is who you take in, who you take out is the difficult part, but we'll see. Sorry, I almost knocked down my camera or mic. AFC, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry. Pretty good, pretty self-explanatory. Fullbacks, Juszczyk, Kyle Juszczyk, Patrick Ricard. Um, Pretty good as well, although Al Kingold has done a heck of a job for the Dolphins, so shout him out. Offensive tackles, Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, Tristan Wirfs. Um, you know, I'm I'm okay. Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, you know, pretty right. Andrew Thomas, though, at the Giants, you know, it's unfortunate he didn't get in. I think he's had better season than worse. Uh, but I mean, left tackle. I mean, just as tackles. So I mean, for my money, I'd take Andrew Thomas over Tristan Wirfs. That's just my opinion. AFC, Larry Tunsil still going strong for Texans. Teron Armstead, Orlando Brown. Clearly, if Rashawn Slater didn't get hurt, I'd say him in over Orlando Brown. I mean, same with Cam Robinson. I would put him in over Brown. Another thing, too, Trevor Penning, the rookie from the Saints. I would have took him over Tristan Wirfs, but again, Wirfs ain't a bad pick. Centers, Jason Kelsey, Frank Ragnow, pretty good for the NFC. Creed Humphrey, has been a stud, his second year. And Mitch Morse for the Bills. I mean, pretty right, pretty right. Pass rushers, defensive ends, Nick Bosa, Brian Burns, DeMarcus Lawrence of the NFC. DeMarcus Lawrence, You know, J.J. Watt, Josh Sweat, just two guys. You know, Hassan Reddick, although I think he got in as a linebacker, but I mean, still. And even Montez Sweat, I would put him in over Lawrence, but yeah. Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson. Hendrickson's had kind of a shaky year, but he's done well. I don't have too big of an issue, so, but yeah. D lineman, Aaron Donald, Jonathan Allen, Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence, you know, has had a heck of a year. Aaron Donald, you know, he's been shaky as well, but can't discount what he's done. Um, I think maybe Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen's teammate, should be in as an alternate. That's just me, but AFC, Chris Jones, Quinn Williams, glad to see he had a great year and is still having a great year. And Jeffrey Simmons, they got it right. Fred Warner, Demario Davis of the NFC, Roquan Smith, CJ Mosley of the AFC, Forsad Olukan of the Jaguars didn't get in. I mean, a little frustrating. Outside linebackers, Micah Parsons, Zary Smith of the Vikings. Great for him. Hassan Reddick, got him. Matt Judon, Khalil Mack, TJ Watt. With all due respect to TJ Watt, I think we know Alex Highsmith should have gotten in over him. I mean, TJ Watt missed pretty much the majority of the season. And Alex Highsmith had a hell of a year. But yeah, unfortunate. I think I missed. Did I not count on the receivers? Shoot. I have to go check the. Dang, I have to check really quick. I thought I had all the positions on my phone. Shoot. One sec. One sec, ladies and gentlemen. Shoot. My apologies. I'm trying to scroll through, trying to find. Here we are. So wide receivers, okay, and tight ends. So NFC: Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin. Pretty good. Although I must say, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you know, that's the difficult thing. Who would you put in? Yeah. If AJ Brown was still in the Titans, probably St. Brown would have gotten in. But again, alternates. AFC: Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams. For those who upset saying that Devontae Adams went have a great season with Derek Carr. Oh well. And Jamar Chase. I mean, I would put Garrett Wilson in over Jamar Chase, considering the time he missed, but oh well. So those are my thoughts on the Pro Bowl roster. Now let's get into NFL Week 16 recap. Talk about the games quickly from this week before we get into predictions for the college football semifinals on Saturday, and then that's week 17. So, really quickly. So, Jags beat the Jets 19-3 on Thursday. Trevor Lawrence played well. Again, over 200 yards. No touchdowns, but no picks. Controlled the game well. Jets bench Zach Wilson again. Chris Traveler. I'm guessing Joe Flacco was active. Was probably the third guy. I mean, they tried. But Mike White is healthy. And yeah. Jags control their own destiny. Ravens won 17-9. You know, Desmond Ridder looked better with the offense, more comfortable. But they couldn't really punch him when they had to. So goes to the Ravens. They're in the playoffs. 320 yards rushing for the Panthers. They beat the Lions 37-23. By the way, so why I count. If you heard me last week, I'm sure you got a bit confused with my Lions Panthers pick. Turns out I misspoke, and that's why I'm credited for 11-5 for week 16. So there you go. But yeah, 300 yards rushing. And Lions playoff hopes take a blunt. And Panthers still alive for the division. Bills in a frigid cold Chicago beat the Bears 35-13. Bears were ahead at the half. Josh Allen and the Bills were making mistakes, but they fought back, controlled the clock, 35-13. James Cook had a quality day on the ground. Good for him. But it was not the coldest game of the day or the weekend, as Saints won in Cleveland, 5 degrees, 17-10. Was a sluggish game all day. Browns had a chance to tie up late, but yeah, and the Saints still also alive for the division. Chiefs won 24-10 over the Seahawks. This game felt, Seahawks had their chances to make it competitive, but yeah, it was just not to be for the Seahawks. Another quality day of offense for the Chiefs, as you expect. Giants Vikings, no surprise. even though I picked it over one possession for Vikings to win it by 10. They won by 3, so they won at the buzzer. Um, Vikings moved to 12-3. They get it done at home in that great whiteout. The whiteout view of the game, that was something. Like to see more of it. Bengals hold on to beat the Patriots 22-18. In a day of cold football, one thing was for certain: missed kicks and missed opportunities. Um, it was 22-0, and then a pick six, a acrobatic touchdown, um, or a ping pong touchdown, and Patriots pulled within 4, but fumbled late inside the red zone, and Bengals hold on. Texans got their second win of the year. They won 19-14 over Titans in Malik Willis's third action as a starter for the season. Um, you know, sluggish, but gotta love that the Texans are staying competitive for Lovie Smith. I love it. 49ers won 37-20 over the Commanders. You know, Taylor Heinicke was benched. Carson Wentz thrust in, led down a touchdown drive, but pretty much that was that. Um, yeah, Purdy just stirring the offense. Um, doesn't have to face much adversity. Now, obviously, that will be the main question when it comes to playoff time. How will he battle the adversity as still a rookie? But for now, they keep rolling. Was the game of the weekend. Cowboys beat the Eagles 40-34 in a great game. And no Jalen Hurts. It was almost no problem. Gardner Minshew did well, but 4 turnovers by the Eagles ultimately killed them. And the play of the day, um, 3rd and 30, Dak Prescott to T.Y. Hilton to convert, and what can you say? Great throw, great catch. Yeah. And in remembrance of Franco Harris, the Immaculate Reception anniversary game, Steelers pulled out 13-10 Saturday night. They beat the Raiders, and it was ugly, but late touchdown drive by Kenny Pickett, they got it done. And the Raiders are technically still alive, but their chances took a blow, and we'll see. As well as taking a blow, the Dolphins took another blow. They lost to the Packers 26-20 on Christmas. Um, no points in the second half for the Dolphins. It was 20-10. And You know, it looked like potentially the Dolphins would get more points, but Dolphins turn over and yeah, 16 unanswered points win the game by the Packers, and they are still alive. Rams blew out Broncos on Christmas 51-14. Um, Two picks earlier by Russell Wilson, and it just got worse. It was like a snowball effect. Yeah. Baker looked well. It's good to see him looking good after the strange start to season with the Panthers, but 2-1 as a starter for, or 2-1 in game action because he didn't start the Raiders game, so good for him. Then was a heck of a way to end Christmas as Buccaneers won 19-16 in overtime. Was sluggish. Um, it was 16-6 in the fourth quarter for the Cardinals, but Bucks found a way, and it wasn't pretty. Two picks by Brady, but he got done. They're still alive for the division, so see how it goes. And then to close Week 16, Chargers won 20-3. I mean, it was careless football to start, picks back and forth, but Chargers, after a while, pulled ahead. Um, Colts, I mean, they're a mess. Just a glorified mess right now. So, Chargers clinch the playoff spot and don't have to worry about a tie like they did last week's season last year. So, good for them. Good for Justin Herbert. Hopefully, they can get healthy. Now, before I get into week 17 predictions, let's talk about Saturday as two key games lined up. Michigan, TCU, Georgia, Ohio State. The Final Four to determine who's the national champion in college football on January 9th. I mean, talk about a bunch of different roles to get to this point of the season. I mean, Georgia, the defending champs, you know, they started out third on the first college football rankings, and they slammed the door on Tennessee, who, after that huge win over Bama, were the first number ones in the college football playoff. But really, after that victory, they have not surrendered the number one ranking, and well deserved. Their offense has still very manageable. The defense, despite losing all of those players in the NFL draft, are still greatly there. Kirby Smart, I mean, the LSU game was just pure. I mean, even after Jalen Daniels went out and I believe it was Mosberger, made some very good throws, but really the decision wasn't in doubt. So great for Georgia. They take on Ohio State, who Ohio State has, for a large part, been the number two, you feel, of the country because you got CJ Stroud, who was the majority of the year the Heisman favorite, but really that performance against Michigan really took him, it gave him a nosedive, a small one, but a nosedive in his case for the Heisman. But I mean, they've done well. I mean, their defense has still been very solid. Their performance against Penn State, you know, besides their blocking, they are a very good team. So overall, I mean, very physical. I mean, they can give Georgia issues. They can make this a difficult game. So we'll see. We'll s Then on the flip side, Michigan TCU. I mean, Michigan, you know, last year they powered through mostly the run game and with some power defenders, um, edge rushers, and you know, besi- besides Hassan Haskins, Aiden Hutchinson, Dave Ojabo, etc. But this year, you know, starring JJ McCarthy, you know, defense up the mill. Will Johnson has had a heck of a freshman year at corner. Cannot deny that. And you know, Cornelius Johnson, their running back, Donovan Edwards, has filled in very well for Blake Corum, provided he can stay healthy. You know, that's the other thing. Going against TCU, who has been a great story this year. I mean, Max Duggan, what he went through in the COVID year to now being back, winning his job back for TCU. I mean, what more can you say? And you know, credit they did lose to Kansas State. They got shredded for a good point by the run, which will suck for them going into Michigan. But, you know, Max Duggan and Quinn Johnson is going to be an exciting guy to see on Sundays for the NFL in the future. But Max Duggan, this could potentially be his last college football game. So you know he's going to leave it all out there, all on the table for TCU. So we'll see how it goes. But if I have to say, you know, my picks for the national championship, I think it's going to be a rematch of the Orange Bowl last year. You know, or early this year. Georgia, Michigan, two best teams duke it out once again on January 9th. That's probably how it goes. Just probably how it goes. Um, although I could see it going, I'll say Michigan Part 2. That would be something as well. Now, before getting to prediction time for Week 17, I gotta talk about the Denver Nuggets. Gotta talk about them. As Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray all manifested a solid performance against the Phoenix Suns in overtime Christmas night. Aaron Gordon had like 26 points. He had a hell of a dunk. I mean, this dunk over Ishame was probably the dunk of the year. I mean, that was great to see. Just put him on a poster. I think it's pretty much explanatory. Jokic over 40 points. I think it was the largest point total for a guy on Christmas. So great to see. And then Jamal Murray seems he's healthy. 28 points. I mean, if they are healthy, they are my pick to win the NBA championship. Pretty simple. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, gotta give all three of those guys some love. It's great to see. All right. Now let's get into the book. NFL Week 17 predictions, the main topic. Well, let's get into it, shall we? So, second last week of the season, you know, 4 teams can clinch a playoff berth this week. 6 teams can get eliminated. We'll see. 16 games, 15 games have playoff implications. So, let's get started. Thursday Night Football. Cowboys riding high off that great victory over the Eagles. Still alive for the division and possibly the 1 seed in the AFC. Going to Tennessee to take on the Titans, who have lost 5 in a row. And but are still alive for division as well. Now, good news for them is that Ryan Tannehill can make his return for next week against the Jags, but this is plenty crucial, I would say, for the Titans. Cowboys 10-point favorites. I mean, Frantano was playing this game, I feel different. And, Derrick Henry, there's going to be urgency good for Traylon Burks to be back. At first, I had the Cowboys covering, but I think I'm going to go 26-20. Cowboys win. Sunday football. So, the only game this weekend that doesn't have playoff implications. Cardinals at Falcons. Falcons 3.5-point favorites. Seems like it may be. We'll have to see. Colt McCoy's status. Either him or McSorley. To face Desmond Ridder and the Falcons. Now, so the run game of the Falcons still very viable. Very viable. Cardinals had that game won. But did not pull it out. Colt McCoy slated to start. This ultimately feels like a toss-up. I'm going with the Cardinals, though. Especially with hearing J.J. Watt is probably going to retire. He's probably going to be fired up to have another solid day. And better weapons on the offense side. So, with Colt McCoy, I'm going to say 21-17. Cardinals over Falcons. Super pen, I have to get another one. Steelers at Ravens. Ravens 3-point favorites. Or actually, excuse me, this was moved to Sunday night, so I'll get to that later. I printed the schedule before the flex, so bear with me. So, Bears at Lions. Lions 5.5-point favorites. Lions took a blow to their playoff chances last week. So have a chance to make the playoffs. But it has to start by winning this game. And I think they do so, and they cover 24-17. Detroit over the Bears. Yes, Detroit over the Bears. This one's tricky Jaguars at Texans. Jags 4-point favorites on the road. Texans have beaten the Jags, what, 9 straight times? I mean, not sure what to say other than, you know, now the Jags have been, or Texans have been fighting hard for Lovie Smith. Should be in the Cowboys, could be in the Chiefs, did beat the Titans. They're fighting hard for Lovie Smith. And, I think Lovie Smith deserves one more year for being the head coach of the Texans. Unless they hire Josh McCown in the offseason, then we'll see. There's just something with the Texans over the Jags. I think in Houston, 20-13, Texans over Jags. That's Chiefs hosting the Broncos. Chiefs 13.5-point favorites. Sounds like new head coach for our interim head coach for the Broncos. Russell Wilson will start the rest of the season. Broncos slightly cover, but 26-14 Chiefs. They are still looking for the 1 seed, so yeah. Patriots hosting Dolphins. Patriots now 3-point favorites at home. Tua likely not going to start for the rest of the regular season, at least. After suffering his third concussion, Teddy Bridgewater will start. Patriots still alive. They can win their last 2 games. They can make the playoffs at 7th seed. So 24-20. Sorry about Tua, but it seems like it's lining up. Teddy will still steer the ship, but yeah, 24-20. Patriots over Dolphins. Colts going to the Giants. Don't really have much to say about this. Giants can make the playoffs with a win. Colts seem like they'll start Nick Foles again. 23-14. Giants over the Colts. This one's intriguing. Now, Saints going to the Eagles. Eagles 6.5-point favorites. Eagles can win the division and the 1 seed. Well, if the Cowboys lose on Thursday, Eagles win the division. If the Eagles win against the Saints, they gain the 1 seed. If the Saints win, they are very much alive for the division. After a dysfunctional season, the Saints can still win the NFC South. despite the Bucks winning in overtime. But I'm going to go with the Eagles here. In a feisty matchup, 26-17. Eagles cover and get the win. Panthers going to the Bucks. Bucks 3-point favorites at home. Bucks win the division with a win of the Panthers. If they don't, it gets very interesting. Panthers ran for over 300 yards on the ground versus the Lions. Now, it's crazy. The Lions' defense been much better the last few weeks prior. The Bucks defense, I think, will be ready. They won't be shredded for 300, but the Panthers will get them some. It just becomes a case of Sam Darnold, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's played ugly the last number of games. Ugly. There's no other way to say it. And if he plays ugly again, the Panthers are going to make him pay. So, I mean, I'm going with my gut here. (20-17), Panthers get the win over the Bucks. Browns at Commanders. Commanders 2.5-point favorites. Commanders can clinch a playoff spot as well if things go right for them on Sunday. I mean, it won't be 5 degrees at FedEx Field on Sunday. I can tell you that. Carson Wentz to start. I mean, (27-23), Commanders win, and we'll see. This game got shooken up a bit. 49ers going to Las Vegas. 49ers 5-point favorites on the road. Las Vegas still can make the playoffs, but some things have to go right. Starting Jarrett Stidham have benched Derek Carr for the rest of the season. Jarrett Stidham to start the final two games. I mean, five-point favorites. Bosa leading the league in sacks, 17.5. You know, against arguably the best defense in the league. I'm not too sure. I think Raiders cover, but 23-20. 49ers over the Raiders. Jets at Seahawks. Crucial game for both. Both need a win to keep their playoff hopes alive. Jets 2.5-point favorites. I mean, the Seahawks were flying good at 6-4, and Geno Smith talked about for comeback play of the year. Now still may be, but now they're 7-8. Jets, 7-4, have lost 4 straight. With Mike White starting, he should. I don't think he's 100%. I think he's close to 100%. But I think he'll make enough throws, and Jets win 24-21 on the road, and tight one in Seattle. Packers hosting the Vikings. Packers 3-point favorites over the Vikings. Now, this game got hella more interesting with the Packers win on Sunday, because Packers are still alive. Vikings can still get the 1 seed, but of course they have to still win first. With the Packers, you don't know, really. Christian Watson's injury, that's a blow. I Romeo Dobbs is going to have to step up. Alan Lazard. They may go to the run game more. The way we've seen Vikings losses this year, you gotta blow them out. Otherwise, they're gonna find some way to get back into it and win. I'm just gonna go with the Vikings here. (27-23) on the road. Vikings win and put a nail in the Packers' coffin for the season. Rams at Chargers. Originally supposed to be Sunday Night Football, the Battle of LA. But flex out, now it's afternoon game. Chargers now in the playoffs, 6.5-point favorites. Their offense needs to get better. Brandon Staley, Justin Herbert have both acknowledged that they need to get better. Baker Mayfield has done better. It's great to see since being the starter for the Rams the rest of the season. And this is going to be a fun game. I'm sure people were souring on this game a couple weeks ago with Matthew Stafford's injury, but this is going to be a fun game. Ultimately, I'm going with the Chargers here to win 28-24 over the Rams. To get it done. Now, new Sunday Night Football. Steelers at Ravens. Steelers still alive for playoffs and to stay a winning record for this Mike Tomlin. This rivalry for the Steelers and Ravens. Have checked the status of Lamar Jackson really quick. So has not practiced. You know, the Steelers should have won the previous game. If Mitchell Trubisky doesn't throw 3 picks, the Steelers win that game, probably by more than one score. In Baltimore, throughout the records, Kenny Pickett starting. (1917) Steelers win on the road. Now, this game has huge implications. Huge implications. Could be game of the year. Probably for the 1 seed. And this could be an AFC title game preview. Bills at Bengals. Bills 1-point favorites on the road in Cincinnati. Now, we know both offenses are electric and great. Allow Collins' injury concerns me a bit. It concerns me. You know, they built and revamped that O-line. Now, no Von Miller for the rest of the season, but Gregor Rousseau, Matt Milano, those guys are going to attack that right side, get Joe Burrow's face, or try to frustrate him. And if Lyle Collins, was not out for the season. I think that concerns me. I'm going with Bills ultimately. 34-30 on the road. Get it done. And if they win out, they get the 1 seed. But going with the Bills here. 34-30. All right, well, those are my week 17 predictions. Just got 2 more weeks. Come on. Just got to get at least 1 week with 13 or more right. I've not gotten at least 13. I've gotten 12 wins, but if I can at least 13, that's what I'm trying for. We got 2 weeks. Got this week and next week, so we'll see how it goes. But nonetheless, thank you for joining me. If you like this video, leave a like, leave a thumbs up. Thank you all. If you stay with me, thank you. But yeah, like, subscribe, help out the video, help out the channel, see more videos. Thank you all. I made Joe to love. Get out here. Hope everyone had happy holidays. Peace.